Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from LastStandGamers, and welcome. So today we take a look at some more of the drone faction ships. Now you've seen this one featured in both its variants. This is the Cloud Kicker, and it's been produced by Pavel. Now Pavel builds some very interesting ships, and he really captures the sort of design of the drone fleet. So the Cloud Kicker here in its standard variant, let's actually just go over it. I'll show you what it's all about. It is designed with redundancy in mind. So we've got 4 large thrusters. That's well more than enough to actually lift this ship, but underneath we've got these smaller thrusters that act as a redundancy just in case them large thrusters fail. Now what is quite interesting about this layout is just the shape of this. You can see we've got this V-shaped hull. That is great, number one, for focusing fire towards the ground. You can see from this underneath position how more weapons can actually focus on that ground position to suppress an enemy target. And we've also got ourselves very nice armored and protected areas. All the bits that you want to keep safe are hidden behind a nice layer of light armor. Now you might not think it's too great, but it does its job. So coming to the top here, let's have a look at our weapons payload. Now first up, we've got the 2 Vulcans at the rear, followed up by 2 of the 20mm. We've got the large 300mm cannon on the top that does a lot of damage to the larger ships. And then on the other side, once again, it's been repeated. So even if you lose your Vulcans, you've still got them 20mm cannons doing a lot of damage. Now as you come to the side, this is where the firepower really starts to kick in. So you can see the Vulcans up at the top there. We've got 2 of them, another Vulcan, another 20mm. It's this combination, I feel, of Vulcans and the 20mm cannons that is very, very effective indeed. And then finally underneath we've got ourselves another 300mm. Now let's have a look at some more of the details of this particular craft. Now as we come around to the front here, you'll see how it's actually indented this section. We've got the camera that's protected behind a thin layer of glass, just a little bit of protection, can still be blown off, but you can see once again redundancy. We've got 2 cameras up there, and I won't be surprised if he's hidden one somewhere else as well. And then behind these doors, this is a great little feature in my opinion, because sometimes when you park, the last thing you want to do is have people entering through where your guns are being housed into the back of your ship. So simply you can open and close them and then fire his weapons at will. So as we come along the side, we have access to one of the connector points. It's a little bit harder to dock this ship just because where the Vulcan's placed and near the engines are docks, but there is other auxiliary docking ports as well. You can see there as well, so you have to have a connector point that sticks further out than you usually would, but connectors in all the relevant directions. So we'll pop inside. Not many people get to see really too much in the drone ships because I don't spend too much time in them, but we actually do have interior turrets, so if someone decides to try to get in here and cause some havoc from the inside, our turrets will usually tear them apart. But just look how this thing's laid out. We've got a lot of space, meaning that there's not going to be too much weight taken up by this, but we've also got 2 sort of control seats. We've got one at the front and one at the back, and you can see it's been scooped around. We've got the thrusters tucked around there. It's just a really nice little layout. And of course we have access to the reactor room down here. That's once again a sort of double system. We've got the hydrogen tank there, so we can store that for oxygen supplies. Of course we've got the reactors, and we also have some smaller reactors tucked in around this design. I'm not too sure if I'll be able to access them, but you can see all this space is going to act as extra room to take up some of the damage from the incoming shells. So let's actually pop back out of this little maintenance hatch and pop up here where we can walk ourselves back outside. So you can see the backup reactors here that can be used just to get the thing going, but we've got 4 on either side, adding a little bit more power in case something happens that we don't want to. So let's pop ourselves out, and that is the Cloud Kicker for you. Very smart design, lots of thrusters tucked into areas, making the best use of space possible. Now the Grim Reaper was a modification done by Ryan and some of the other guys after we said let's slap a laser cannon in there. And you can see what we've basically done is took the standard length Grim Reaper that ends about just a little bit around this area here, and we've added this whole front section on here to protect a laser cannon, and this really does offer a lot of protection for this cannon. You can see the antenna has also been preserved and been kind of compacted down into that section as well. We've got the camera up in this section, and when Drunken decided to pilot this thing in the survival world and not wiped out, but pretty much cut through the whole of Jack's helicarrier, I was worried that it was going to be all over then, and it probably could have been. We could have just obliterated it, but due to my good judgment and wanting a bit of a fairer fight, I got him to pull back. So there we go, we've got the rear thrust pack, that's just 2 large thrusters, so we've got a great acceleration. But more importantly, we've got the landing gear on this variant as well, that the first one was missing, but that landing gear really just helps it clip onto a few things. And as you build ships in a survival setting, you kind of realise issues back and forth, like thrust and manoeuvrability. You can see how them extra thrusters have been added on into that particular section, and you build a ship that is more sort of capable than its previous designs. And the latest ship that Pavel's been working on, the Spitfire, that you'll be seeing in the series very, very soon, is the next incarnation of this beast. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching. I'm going to do a quick test flight before we wrap this up, and we'll take the Grim Reaper out. The Grim Reaper, you've seen it handle in the survival videos, so I'll just take this out. So you can see we're not in the actual main cockpit. The main cockpit is this one located in the back, so it stops tampering. And you can see we've got a nice bit of acceleration going here forward. We can dip this thing down. It's quite maneuverable for a large ship. The only issue I've noticed is it has a little bit of drift, but you can account for the drift by rolling this ship. So you can see how we can roll it through the turns, and we can still make them tight passes through the mountain ranges at a higher speed if we need to. But this is definitely a larger ship that can take some of Jack's ships a little bit more directly, rather than the ships we built in the past where they kind of hit and run strategies. Anyway, I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.